This is Dead Serious, a show about short horror stories worthy of discussion. I'm Dead Palette, and I'm reading an SCP entry, Frontier Face Fuckers. Today, at this moment in non-time, we're going to be taking a look at SCP-2316. It's going to be the last SCP that we look at for a good long while, and it's going to be the last one that we look at in the Class of 76 series, I suppose you could say. Cluster of stories, cluster of entries, cluster of files, clusterfuck. I really enjoyed doing that, and I'm excited for what I believe is going to be a significant payoff of some sort. But let's get right into this entry. At the very top there is a giant warning that says, by order of the Overseer Council, the following file describes a Keter class cognito hazard, and it has a level 4/2316 classified. Unauthorized access is forbidden. So this thing is more hazardous than any other story that I've ever read. Item number SCP-2316, Object Class Keter. Cognito Hazard Warning. The following file contains images and text that are carriers for anomalous cognito-hazardous influences. You do not recognize the bodies in the water. Due to this, it is imperative that all personnel accessing this file be certified as having a cognitive resistance value, or CRV, of no less than 14.5. Should you fail this automated CRV verification, please remain calm and do not move. A member of your site's medical staff will be with you shortly. So this is acknowledging the interface of the website itself, and right here it says, please repeat the following phrase slowly and clearly into your terminal microphone. Well, I can do that for you. I do not recognize the bodies in the water. Now there is a red box, and right next to it are red text that say, Run Adjustment Tonal Variance Processor. And I click it. Now it's telling me in green text, verification complete. User CRV is within acceptable limits. But if you might not be, so you need to check the link in the description to make sure that you can proceed with us. Otherwise, you might be hurt in some way, cognitively disrupted, cognitively messed with, fucked with, mind fucked in some fashion if you see the images here, and so we want to be very careful about that. Special Containment Procedures. Under no circumstances are Foundation personnel to approach SCP-2316. Observation of SCP-2316 must only be carried out by remote dummy probes utilizing video and audio recording equipment. Only those personnel adequately rated for exposure to cognito-hazardous anomalies may review the footage and audio of SCP-2316. Now I'm going to go out on a limb because of what we were asked to repeat in that phrase. These bodies are going to do something to try and convince us that we know them, just as how the SCP photograph, Polaroid, tried to, SCP-1423 tried to replace our memories, and SCP-1833 replaced what was in its files with images that we would recognize. But unlike those two anomalous pieces of media, those were considered safe, and this is a full-blown Keter, one that requires level 4 access. The lake in which SCP-2316 is located has been quarantined and fenced off, and it is to be routinely patrolled by individuals who have not been exposed to SCP-2316 and have no prior knowledge of its characteristics. You do not recognize the bodies in the water. Individuals who attempt to bypass the enforced quarantine must be apprehended and moved to Site 33 for a full cognitive influence screening. Individuals who come within 50 meters of the lake containing SCP-2316 are to be considered lost. Now there's a photograph of SCP-2316 here, and if someone, considered lost, if someone wants to somehow edit this photograph to be a lost edit, I will crack up. So now we have another test to take. Please repeat the following phrase slowly and clearly into your terminal microphone. I do not recognize the bodies in the water. Clicking, processing, complete, displayed results below, verification complete, user CRV within acceptable limits. This little bit of interactivity goes a long way, folks, and it's really establishing the universe here, that this is a part of operations for being in the SCP Foundation, whereas my frustrations were with remembrance, were with the lack of contextualization. Description: SCP-2316 is the designation for an anomalous phenomenon existing within Lake Redacted within Redacted County Redacted. SCP-2316 manifests as a group of human corpses floating in a small group at the surface of the water. The identities of the corpses are cognitohazard removed, automated change unknown. Through DNA testing, though DNA testing has been inconclusive. So the Foundation seems to have some sort of idea, but doesn't want to tell us who the bodies are, because if we know, then it's going to mess with us in some form or fashion. While SCP-2316 appears to be individual instances, it is theorized that SCP-2316 may instead be an entity composed of collective consciousness. Individual instances of SCP-2316 do not act on their own, but do seem to be able to act collectively as a single unit. The individual instances of SCP-2316 are unrecognizable, and you do not recognize the bodies in the water. So this is a really interesting, unsettling effect where this is written in a very detached way. All of these entries are, but they're making an exception here to really drive it home that no, you do not know the bodies. So they are breaking the formulaic writing style, and if you're going to break a rule, you have to understand it. And whoever is writing SCP-2316 really does understand the rules as so they can break them. So in that paragraph, there are two footnotes. Footnote 2 says, I know who they are, I know their names, each and every one of them. Don't you? Click to scroll to the footnotes. Okay? And then we have footnote 3, Jeremiah Feynman, Arthur Scott, Denise Clark, Denice, Har, cognitohazard removed, automated message, edit locked. So a little weird that these edits are being made and they can't be taken out. Like if you can redact something on a website at one point, you can redact it at another. So how it's being censored mid-redaction is kind of ridiculous, where it says Har and then stops, as in it's going to say Harold or Harry or something, I don't know. But that's a little silly. But, I appreciate the interactivity, and there are parts of the SCP Foundation that are designed to be tongue-in-cheek, so I'll take it for what it is. SCP-2316 hosts a powerful cognitohazard effect, causing those who have viewed SCP-2316 are aware of the parts of its nature, or who are enrolled in the cognitohazard removed, automated message invalid, to believe that they are individual instances of SCP-2316 are human beings they recognize, typically from their childhood. Now we have footnote 4 here. They're lying. They know damn well who they are. The cognitohazard is real, but it's just their way of crying for help, or of letting people know who they are, who they were. So these footnotes must be either SCP-2316 or SCP-001 which again, haven't read that one, but there to cause chaos, to influence SCPs on Earth, to cause anomalous instances on Earth, or it is very possible that someone within the Foundation is editing this stuff and has been under the effect of SCP-2316 and is trying to get word out about who these young people were who have drowned in this lake. Now, I went to school with everyone involved in SCP-2316. I didn't know Arthur Scott very well, but I did have a math class with him. It was it was a math class, so there's not a whole lot of room to talk during that math class, because it's just mostly lectures. I did go to the Gay Straight Alliance with Jeremiah Feynman. Denise was someone that was involved in the science club, and I was part of the science club as well. Harry, he was that guy, treated women in that way. Not a fan of him, but it's not fair what happened to him. Anyway, I'm getting distracted and reminiscing. We should really press on. These kinds of things always make me nostalgic for high school. Attempting to come into contact with SCP-2316 instances by way of entering Lake Redacted or touching an instance of SCP-2316 will cause other instances of SCP-2316 to appear. You do not recognize the bodies in the water. The additional instances of only serve to reinforce and add to the strength of the cognitohazard, compelling affected individuals into the lake. Individuals who enter the lake in this way are lost, and to date, none have been recovered. So we have footnote 5 here. How can you not recognize the bodies in the water? Which is a very good question, because I know that you went to school with these people. I know that you know who they are. So, just don't even go down that route. Addendum 2316.1, interview, and then there is data expunged. Then there's a footnote next to that. They don't want to show you, but I will, below. So now we have another test here. Repeat the following phrase slowly and clearly into your terminal microphone. I do not recognize the bodies in the water. Processing complete. Results displayed below. Verification incomplete. User CRV is not within acceptable limits. User CRV influenced by active cognitohazards. Please stay still. A member of your site's medical staff will be with you shortly. Terminal locked out. Addendum 2316 period 2. Invalid entry. Fuck, I don't know how I'm gonna review the rest of this story as I've been locked out. So I guess from here on out, if you want to continue to look into the story and your terminal isn't locked out, you can click on the link below in this page that says Class of 76, and it might take you to the rest of the information. However, I have been locked out of it, frustratingly. I was planning on seeing how deep this rabbit hole goes, but I guess that's the end of it for me. I've greatly enjoyed exploring the Class of 76 stories at the SCP Wiki, even if parts of it I felt were flawed. Overall, it was very enjoyable. Now, if you enjoyed that, consider helping out the community and supporting my channel. You can support the community by conversing in the comments below and going to creativehorror.com. That's creativehorror.com for horror-based podcasts like The Witching Hour, a bi-weekly podcast for the creative horror lover. You can support me by liking this video, following me on Twitter and Tumblr, links down in the description. Thank you so much for your time, and now on to our sponsor at this non-moment in time. Kathy's house. Kathy's house. Punch, 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 punch.